Lawyer Kwaba. Set me crew NPP. What's your name?
Oh, the man. First time I was set.
He's a nice gentleman.
No.
He's been waiting for 12 years.
The man.
Yeah.
Now, I benefited from the Chinamiwa.
I think with him, it's hard work.
The Mewa.
It's hard work.
In share with you for
no, what to say?
Oh, Yamina
Boko.
Boko. Moko Sekunacha, 3-4 weeks.
Okay.
Mutukon Bebe Mukui,
okay.
Madam Excellency Ambassador Bedinemi Sane Egi.
Oh, okay.
And since then, no, you may be a hammer and some of but you may have maybe a weekend day.
Okay.
Mumfawa Kunyedo, last time we turn where the communities be or it's a man and some other areas, so no found. Uncle said, problem needed. It's been lingering for centuries. It was on a low-lying area. It's right by the coast. And every time beyond Subotobiana, Eponoso or high tide, then the rainwater doesn't have access to the sea. Right? And then or reverse and snow now for community.
Hey, it's terrible.
Me MP would come on.
But the NDC will solve it.
Every year be about the sorting of the drains in the area. But when the rain comes, let's say height or coincide with high tide, I know really is not. There's no other option.
I see.
But if the tide is lower, then of course flow near easier now community no.
Okay.
But some of these things no. Politics no yet it's
but that's
because somebody created an impression that a mess and a fault. And so, that when they come, they will do it. But in your first 6 months, yeah, at the south, but still the rain has come.
So that's the chapter.
Has affected the people.
That's the chapter.
You know, so then, but
that's the chapter continuously. I want us to open the chapter. I want us to open where we will desist from that deceitful politics, that propaganda politics. That when you see a challenge that cannot be done within a day or two or by an individual, and you use that. You know, for
example, NDC Abana, I wish them well. Was on the Otum way no year, ain't none even your own fason. On sure there won't be issues are able to make that campaign. Na yaba benim. Okay. Marka, for example, the 1 CD levy WGG. As far as I'm concerned, there's no basis whatsoever. Was on the ECG one contractor was signing. Minister for Government Communication, Nankasa Ojitu. Yaka over 8 years. What are your politics? The ECG what you want to na wa bail consumers ni na poa. 1 2 months you want invoices from generating companies about contracting. Why? Because they've contracted more than they need. But you're the politics. So you fix the inefficiencies at ECG. Right? Now, budget this year we made provision for almost 30-something billion to pay for energy sector shortfalls. You use that to pay. But to burden Ghanaians are 1 year responsible for those contracts. Then I disagree. Nana Kuva or Ghana vote to pay for the inefficiencies of ECG. So why is Mr. Mahama doing it? Especially when opposing a critical revenue measure that was introduced to deal with a problem that was real. What the year did there in the south of Ukraine, or Russia, or Israel and the Iran conflict, or potential to affect Ghana.
There's a difference between your approach and their approach.
What difference? What is the difference in approach?
Is that they've seen ahead of time that the probability that this one will have that shock on that.
Hold on.
Once you put your case across.
Hold on. Now,
Merba. This is the governor talking.
Oh, my name,
Governor Finance Minister says that they are putting in buffers.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, I wish them well. But sir, oil do $120 per barrel. Abba buffers not about to put in.
That is not for you to tell me.
But I've been in government.
But your strategy did not work.
What strategy? Russia walk attack Ukraine or boy be amendia. Obo amendia. It's no studio here oba catch show. There you invade Ukraine. What disrupt global supply chain. They informed you. Because you don't have a response. So you see, remember.
So that's a clear line this government has drawn.
Which is what?
Buffers have been.
Oh, brother, yeah.
If you look at
Buffers have been built, right? But aban, and then because you control on fuel or bagana. Government no control of fuel or bagana honye hindi. Yes, your who buffer never build reserves, which we started to do after we had gone through a crisis. Prior to that, no, they dependent on forex, buffers ni no, or your loans and bond market. Now you raise forex. Now you build the buffers. We realized that you crisis ma, them buffers no, be. Inti yen start na yen gold ya way. Time ye wa banum na Ghana ye wa only 8 kilograms since independence. Since independence to 2021 or 2022. They only 8 kilograms of gold. Policy ban or introducing gold purchase program was to buy gold to build buffers. Thankfully, they are continuing. And then you are Professor Bokpin. I don't like his politics, but also a neutral. I don't know how neutral it is. He is. But he said that 70 to 80% of the buffers that have already been built was started by the previous government. So it's good. Also, you see lessons from the Russian-Ukraine invasion. But is it enough? Especially when build the buffers are. But it's not within government control. Iran the 6 years will close the Strait of Hormuz was it's being projected that fuel will do $200 per barrel. Mr. Mahama, what can you do about it? Have a buffer overbuild. Because I've told you what stood you have before. The determinant, what did determine the export price? I mean, now we are cotton. Or yes, 70% cost of the commodity and a 30% exchange rate.
Those factors are not controlled by us.
Oh, brother. Certainly.
Yeah.
But also, when Russia invaded Ukraine, did it have an impact on Ghana or not? And what was their response?
Admittedly,
Mr. What was their response? Mr. Mahamo Kejinaman also, the effect of COVID and Russia, Ukraine is impacting Africa's economy. As if to say that Ghana, the Oceania.
But Ukraine is
not Baha. Not so. Abade, Russia, Ukraine, Russia, and Ukraine, and Kasapa, some ways you all. It's pure mismanagement on the part of the Akufo-Addo government. Is that not what they said?
That is the case.
Was it?
Partly so.
How? You see, I'm managing Russia.
Iran,
look, like I said,
Iran,
like I say, and I will re-emphasize. Sabi wa fuel do $200 per barrel. Mas more to be, and I don't wish for it to get there. Okay, but there are realities. Our geopolitical are only within the control of government. Why can't we admit it? That look, yes, as some of your KFM people are no yakobi sam. Or some there yenim. The Russian-Ukraine COVID had an impact on our economy. Also, but we borrowed in addition. And I go for the one during the COVID period. He got grants, yes. You need grants, P. But government borrowed on top of it. the economy. President himself, he knew that decisions no taken, obeying party in the economy. But Nimpanon come here, Ninti, no boy, I'm there. There, Susana Murkwe, meaning nobody economic a whole baba. But as president, my primary responsibility is to protect the Ghanaians.
But that's
why
why
the economy.
that's why
What their politics? What can some be? Every na banewi and the Abonye Nkoko. They Iran in Israel conflict potentially. That's Ghana insulated from external factors, and that Russia Ukraine didn't impact us. Why are you coming to tell us about
three things? Maybe
please.
No, hold on. Three things. You know, they will continue to talk just like they were in opposition, but now in government finding solutions because one. If you listen to the road minister, your government, Emma contract bibria, na sikasembia, hon shishabia, na wa. No, hold on. If you want me
to
let me quote him verbatim so that we can
you don't have to quote him.
So that we can as part of the mismanagement of as part of how some mismanagement occurred during your term of office. Let's agree on this one and let me quote him.
Yeah, I agree on Aberdeen.
Yeah.
Oh my
goodness.
Don't worry about this.
That's it. This is it.
But Mrimbo.
So almost all road projects are currently stalled due to debt and unsustainable levels of contract awarded without regards to availability of funds by previous NPP. That's how far you got us. Awarding contracts just like
remember. Where any of the contracts were awarded, no, not within the budget of the ministry.
Not within, because what you said. They are stalled because there were no budget for those.
So remember, wait. Two sources of revenue. One is your budget revenue that comes in. And the BM put to Juma. And a bossa ebo to complement if so who's kana jiji now on koso. Now one example, Takrade PTC interchange. It was a loan under the Sino Hydro project. Because of the debt exchange, that project has stalled. We have to continue the negotiation so they can come and continue.
As we speak, government is there.
So what's the issue?
Negotiation.
Thank you very much. So what's the issue? We started it. Yeah, commercial debt, bilateral debt renegotiation in now. They criticized it. But I'm a more bank though. Neko tantamount to businessmen or him. They said, I come abosa wa bank. They say, enya emergency binti wusika someone ko atwene ntum ntua. Neko bank na ko renegotiate what debt na enya ban. But these people made it look as if renegotiating your debt, which has become unsustainable because of external pressures or your crime.
Okay.
These people.
Them padisi.
That. Let me use on you. I'm here. Just like we started the program, and of course, see I conclude ni na obobwa ma amana no wahard. So that you to back to the bond market, capital market, to raise additional funding. About support and development.
All right. So
agenda.
Almost to that. Just like led by the finance minister and other relevant personalities of China, trying to relook at the Sino Hydro and other things that China beat with their boy, which is a good step.
Yeah.
And see, how is it? Is it more okay? Just what can someone go almost to me?
Oh my, menchia the good people of Brekum West. Now, lawyer, Eka say the last 4 weeks on Tuminko Takurade, I put to him, said the last 4 weeks, or Jumama, the flag bearer, Udinechi.
Dr. Baumia.
Ono anim. Enti why so preoccupied. Enti rest the other pay then the umbrella who said
I'm not the MP for second. No, but if I don't go there in 4 weeks,
but you are working for
of course I'm working. I'm a support Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And I'm
so 4 weeks.
I've been very public about it. But very public
all the time.
All the time.
Omaya kwena semna lawyer kan no me free hope briefly. Na me man a classical example. The almighty Jene Sampa Road. 80 kilometers. Omai tiye. On the 11th of December 2024. After say ya to about 7 for a year. Yewra Bawumia conceded defeat on the 8th. By 11th, NDC won clear majority. NPP a free power on the 7th. Former President Mahama Aban. 11th December, 4 days after election, they signed a contract. 80 kilometers, Jene Sampa Road. 2024 budget road was not captured. 2024 supplementary budget, it was not captured. Free power they awarded at the cost of $50 million, equivalent to 800 million Ghana cedis. Now it was 15 at that time, so $50 million contract. No commencement certificate, nothing. 80 as we speak. Contractor no to be in share adwuma say me raise the urgent question on floor of parliament, no budget for it, nothing. But President Mahama instruction to the ministers and appointees in the say adwuma aban dada na sha asie bia di ho esese aban we abandon the road minister bae Emma meneno drive call sampa ye bae de ade na no ye follow up question for parliament the akosi ne say President Mahama ayese omun capture under big push. Enti minister my reference say kwan no yato aba awie walusu on the 7th December 8th do Ewra Bawumia concede won capture our budget BM. Why do you award? Enti say inka aban no a oba no wantumi anya na abehye ne kon but walusu aba awie 11th December. Why do you send $50 million contract? Leave it there. When you no, I'm justifying. And yes,
maybe you come in and then there's it.
And yes, but I'm giving you.
Should it be the case?
Classical example.
Should it be the case?
Say, open so yeah.
Should it be the case?
And on my, let me give you the background. Now, informing you. That very stretch in 2015, President Mahama awardoma Adom. Ama Adom ye kwanu nyina koduru sampa egu first court wiye. The can is a second overlay, no overlay asphalt no. NDC free power. Why not at the Wama? Why not at 2 asanya say 8 years no MPP and the mo fit say obey kwano. But ye 2 about 7 December or more free abay mo.
I feel obey kwano.
And minister and almost all the roads, most of them make us say oh, sa de koye and abay we no. Is only giving out the information for people to know. Because when impression is created, then when you are doing it, say 1, Udiama contract, 2, what budgeted for, 3, what clear source of funding for that project, no be about abandon. But none of them, they are no case of loan. Loan, they are you still capture in the budget under your capex. You don't fund any loans near the you capture in the budget. You didn't capture any road minister car. Now, these are some of the issues. But saying that, no interest, yeah, but he wants us to have the clear picture. Number 1. Number 2, on my Russia-Ukraine issue, and Iran, and Israel issue. What draw line on Kahunya and Mekohokra? What should I say? There are 2 different issues altogether. 1. NDC official position with respect to Russia-Ukraine has always been said Russia Ukraine is one of the many factors, but the difference they say NPP was portraying that as the only factor. That is number one. Number two, maybe before Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022, in 2019, World Bank, IMF, I issue warning, said the way you were managing the economy, we were heading into the ditch. And the war not only came to exacerbate. Russia-Ukraine war no, came to exacerbate. So in 2019, now Russia invaded Ukraine. But inflation was skyrocketing. Yesika, we were spending over 70-80%. And the signs were clear, so baby, I headed towards no. And a COVID in Ukraine, boom. So they came to exacerbate. And before Russia-Ukraine ban, not direction I headed towards no and yet. But now, before Iran-Israel air ban, the dollar is going down. The cedi is performing strongly from about 16 to 10 cedis. Fuel prices are dropping from 70 per gallon.
As of the time I moved free Abem, there was nowhere near 16. Where from the 16? Maybe if you want to say the whole administration.
I'm talking about, but in December, around December, well, by the time we are still around 14 point something.
In your case, it's 10.29, something to that effect.
So, dollar are dropping. Fuel prices are dropping.
As a result of?
As a result of strong performance of the economy. Dollar now, growth in agriculture sector, over 6.5%. Fuel prices are dropping. Amalloy prices are dropping. Prices of food are dropping. Inflation are dropping from 24 to 18. So, baby, I headed towards no. The economy is on the right path. And it's an external pressure be back. Na ebe sankai mu a eno ye different from when you are already heading towards the ditch. Russia Ukraine came to exacerbate. They are totally different things altogether.
But
and
you admit and acknowledge the impact.
In fact, I said over and over. Obi enu abeti me aka say COVID Russia Ukraine enya impact ewo economy na do run. There is no dispute about that. But what personally and this official position they say blaming everything on Russia. So if they had admitted say Russia, Ukraine, COVID, and I hear mismanagement na akabu mama ye was economy now, we would have accepted that. But they were pointing to Russia, Ukraine, COVID, taking out their own mismanagement. And no, not a problem. So nobody has ever said they Russia, Ukraine, and COVID didn't have impact. Okay. What we are saying is that before Russia, Ukraine, before COVID, nobody the economy no corner was IMF had already won. World Bank had won. And Russia, Ukraine, they ebe sankai mu said they became be say asem no kura. But this is the government who is right on track.
Have you enough
and again
absorb it?
That is exactly what we are doing. The shocks are absorbers a woman to say they know can fuel prices are wow. There are three key ingredients. One, price on the world market. Two, exchange rate. Three, taxes. Price on the international market, you don't have control. But a buy no control over the remaining two. Taxes and exchange rate. And that is where a bank way strong hold, strong foot on these two. One, exchange rate in our form. Two, taxes, The Nkaye introduced one seed, looking at dynamics in the economy because they will control you hold on. And as we speak, fuel prices keep dropping and a bank way buy are drop consecutively on 8 occasions. And unlike commodity, external one you don't have control, but internal ones are what control, so you are not able to manage. And the buffers are here put to say we are working hard to get the dollar to drop further. Now tax and I was say introduce implement it, you hold on. So that in the event a core through international market, the shocks will not be too much. Prices may go, but it may not skyrocket. And the good thing is that already baby another around 70 cedis per gallon. Yediaba close to 50 cedis per gallon. Now yet to me hold on to the exchange rate. You hold on. Implementation of the 1 cedi or can you was creating impression as if it's been implemented. It's not been implemented. That's the international price cost. It may rise, but may not get up to the 70 cedis we were buying previously. And on the shocks are who can want them. So that is the situation now. You find yourself, which is completely different from their situation. Or mine.
All right. So I was to Breaking West, Russia beginning also to the submission Saturday journal. I feel no other kind of higher bedroom on Adom TV, multi TV. So, quick comment before we move into your parties.
IMF won in no issue now, but time I'm
2019.
Oh, senior. 2019. You people accuse government of misreporting.
Correct.
And now, Tuna Mama, that was the IMF resident.
Came to expose the end.
Thank you very much. That the reporting, which was in the budget, above the line and below the line, or explain it there, they are aware of those two figures. Why? About regular revenue and expenditure, or expend wages and salaries, interest payments, statutory payments, and one can win now. Or your X. Now, between 2017-2018, we had two extraneous issues. Energy sector debt in the banking sector, which was not programmed. But Aban had to borrow money to deal with it. True or false?
Correct.
So those were the key issues that we reported in the budget there. Look, we want to track how we manage the economy. Oh, can you?
Banking sector. Banking sector. You brought that up.
Energy sector.
You're making it.
Japan. Those were the issues. It's the say a discount the energy sector and then the banking sector. Now, yen economic indicators were positive. In fact, in spite of them two huge expenditure that were on program, Aban had to deal with. The economy was performing better. Yes, we had some challenge with those debt and how to deal with it. COVID comes and compounds it. I say, hey, I am mismanagement. How is it mismanagement? Into Akufo-Addo should have said that, well, maybe no, a coward the way Yamina Mobayo. Can you so sike ejiji no nso nti yan koda na yan wodum so no ma until there ya be jis kan keten ye dey tuatua. Is that a suggestion? Or that, oh, well, banks IMF for your assessment 2013 when the banks 8 are challenged. Abano more liquidity support maybe more did no. Okay. And I was short memory association.
No, government injected a huge sum.
What did do now? What bodo Mr. Muhammad the period? Capital Bank no one can. They squandered all the money. It's an Akufo-Addo Bena 4.5 million depositors one sika or ya at risk no. On katenenua no kada njame de ndia de banka wenyame na mobile. Sika wode mo ho no so wedi. Nti ye hwe ne ya di sika ne da mo nza wo bia wo sika be shu bia no wahwe. Is that your suggestion? But government had to deal with that. Why accuse Abanda or divert Esla funds? So it's as if they don't understand. But it's deliberate. What I say, when you bonds are Abanda raising was to deal with the huge debt that you had left and bring it down. Now, proceeds over Bankakakano to service the debt. You had done it with Get Fund, well, UBA, when you were in government. Yet they turn around.
That was road fund, right?
Road fund, yeah. Thank you. Them go for our pro. School. So those are the realities. Look, here, look. Consider.
But the argument has always been that there were better options, much more than collapsing the bank.
Exactly. Abba bank will collapse. Abba bank will collapse.
Merging of banks.
Oh, you collapse. It was consolidated. UT Bank and Unibank were put under Ghana Commercial Bank. True or false? No, this was me, Yana. True or false? Now maybe so. True or false?
But clearly, I've said consolidation.
True or false? True or false?
A combination of banks
True
together.
or false?
So clearly, it is.
It was will collapse banks, not China.
But who will the impact and effect?
See here to date. What's the document be or share there or not work but one share document there. The problem was a 9 billion problem, according to them.
And you spent 26 billion.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Muhu document not share a 9 billion problem.
That
To date.
Oh,
Missy document not share.
Well, according to the NBC.
Document the need to date. Now guess what? Mm-hmm. You spending 22 billion, which per the assessment that Bank of Ghana did was the cost that government had to incur. Mr. Atofos and Mamuni Atofos and then your parliament also banking sector clean up program on your complete into here's come on, no that complete. Remember? You remember? 2025 yeah.
I know what.
So what is he talking about? If it was a 9 billion problem,
go to 9 billion.
Yes.
Don't come and continue what.
Why are you continuing what you say Akufo-Addo has spent so much? Why are you continuing it? Because we didn't require. No man, he be so asamo. Abraban, and on his scale they deal with a certain problem. Or was several other competing project problems although deal with. Or spend this kind to deal with a problem that does not exist. Meant to be that. But these people, them coffee, them padisi, what time they spend? Them padisi, they will make it look as if to say that, hey,
everything is breaking down.
Thank you.
Hell is breaking loose.
Thank you. Politics, nothing more.
No, my question,
the chicken will come home to roost. Look,
very soon.
Responsible man, I mean, Matsna Majatu. Abandoned today, Fabia Menso.
That's correct.
You have people who will do things that do not,
reflect.
are not kosher. I agree. In your government, there were many. In fact, now there are many. In some no could do Okrobani yeto. Yet see.
Oh, street is
Ebe, me a street boy, proper one. Proper, but time a minimum boy. Mammy a street boy, me finish so correct. Tie Adam, watch them bo kakrada, bofus minimum kakra. But up on the street, we know what is happening. It's not no point. No institution is perfect. But facts are facts. No corner or your group. Those are the issues.
All right.
But lawyer, the fact of the matter, they said, now we say, a buying bank, never spend over 20 billion. Dealing with the problem, less than 10 billion between dealing with.
Mr. Chairman, 10 billion documents.
Let's not talking about it's not even up to 10. The 9 billion now
you people that's because
we're
lying
about 6 billion to deal with the problem. What happened? And they say Abronye was bent on targeting indigenous banks as a group for let's be very clear.
But what will be your basis for that? Because if
are we not complaining about a buying bar or targeting businesses perceived say the ownership opposition?
What's what investigate?
Have we not all been lamenting?
Oh, Mr. Muhammad, the president has indicated that will investigate. It's what investigating way.
That Ogu Ghana for Numa.
It's not
that
fair.
was what you've complained about.
I've said that several
that
times.
was and yet that reason. What could have been the reason? Say you require about 6 billion.
Say,
exactly.
Specifics.
Specific.
Ghana for
Worker collapse on best or better collapse as no. Lawyer, would you admit say hundreds and thousands of Ghanaians elusu omojuma? So if you are consolidating employees there, why didn't you absorb them? Have you accounted for that? Oh, no, so it is not just a matter of amalgamating some,
but that's exactly what happened.
Fact of the matter,
but there will be a fallout.
A lot of
nobody can deny it.
Employees.
They are fallout. Unfortunate. But they were necessary. There were fallouts.
Banking sector. That is about the banking sector.
Impacted. I worked in a bank.
And lawyer.
For 7 years.
Lawyer, would you? Yes.
I worked at First Atlantic. I was head of legal by the time I left.
Clearly.
In 2013.
That was
I know.
That was not the best among the other options available.
So the options not available. No. What they chose was not best.
Wrong. Totally.
So what about the one you chose? The liquidity support. The problem was identified in 2013.
Let me tell you.
You tried to resolve it.
Let me also state
you
clearly.
You people so much money.
Okay, say at force and say obey here to continue with the banking sector cleanup. Totally, that is misrepresentation. Ato has never said so obey here to continue. What he is advocating for reforms in the banking sector, not to continue with the cleanup in the manner mu clean up, no, which we have condemned. Say amwa it was targeted at indigenous banks. Now mo performing so well. Mo perceive say or mo belong to opposition party. That was clearly the philosophy behind what you did. Now, energy sector debtor or can who asem say yeja energy sector debtor or can or mine. President Mahama passed ESLA. At the time of ESLA or passing. Na nim we all won. Say with few months to election, a bit to me a cost to. But determined to deal with the energy sector debt. A pass ESLA no passing no in 2015 no implementation was in 2016. Ye free abaimu no 2016 to 2024. NPP ba abaimu.
Okay, so that's what
36 billion.
Hold on.
36 billion Ghana cedis was accrued.
Hold on, Meba.
Yet, or move free abaimu no. Now energy sector debt na sayan balloon to $3.1 billion.
Meba hold on, but let's see to
with a huge and with a huge revenue. With a huge revenue.
Yeah.
Of 36 billion. Banking sector. 2.52 billion. That's $3.1 billion.
That's the ENI phones in there.
Hey.
Oh, maybe so that's ENI phones in there. Government contracted gas on the take or pay.
Please, let's hold on.
You want to go there?
No, hold on.
Don't dare.
Let's energy.
Because also the electricity side, also the electricity side. Also the electricity side.
So let's
also petroleum side.
Okay,
it's so
let's be specific with what Dr. Atuforsen said. He said that Dr. Atuforsen, the current finance minister, has stated that the financial sector in Ghana continues to struggle despite the previous government's 30.3 billion banking cleanup exercise. He highlighted the need for an additional 10.45 billion to address remaining issues and emerging risk in the sector. Furthermore, he noted that the National Investment Bank and the
needs 2.2 billion
require a capital injection of 2.2 billion to ensure their full capitalization.
Yes, they say it was a 9 billion problem.
So there's a danger ahead.
Oh, brother. And the governor was clear.
But there's a difference between his approach and
but now the difference on him.
Exactly.
So the most important point. Why that Papadisi won't look the boy
was spending over 30 billion to deal with problem. Yeah, folks say
you deal with it once and for all. All the initiatives. His Excellency Adom Akufo-Addo initiative. Free SHS, planting for food and jobs, and all of that. The cost of that is nowhere close to how much we spent on energy sector, banking sector, and COVID.
And, and what were the outcomes?
So what were the outcomes? I'm saying to you
But
these
what were the outcomes?
Remember, Siabotero.
Outcomes in the same.
Energy sector problems.
That you import 95% of your chicken upon the model core. More agriculture, planting for food and just rearing for.
So that importation is on.
As I'm again answer.
The amount.
So these three expenditures that were incurred, that you say you had alternative. What alternative to COVID on your end? What alternative to banking sector on your end? What alternative to energy sector on your end? How much money we spent on these initiatives, about 15 of them, doesn't come anywhere close. Dr. Bamiandi's speech
doesn't come close to what you spent in the banking sector.
Nowhere. So I'm saying to you that it was a major problem.
No, that is why we said your approach was wrong. You shouldn't have spent
alternative
that
approach.
money.
So now they are in the boat.
Thank you. What's your alternative approach? Only 10 billion they can inject to clean it up for there.
So now they are in the
you say you need 10 billion to continue.
We are just about wrapping up, but what's happening in the
party?
Away
from our problem, no. I mean, that's why I extended debates to other areas, because that was the main topic for today.
What's happening? But that's not the first time.
We have done a strategic diversion.
No. So, in fact, one thing that I have to apologize to my producer, a lawyer for Joe. You know, Onya Daji yen a researcher in the Nyoma Toho. Just one conversation.
We have issues very two, SND, Supreme Court judges.
Yeah, and that of NPP.
NPP.
What's happening? Be very calm.
Everything under control. Of course. There is always the storm before the
3rd July meeting. No, sir.
Oh, yeah, 3rd July. Why? Even yesterday.
Abronye so this
and then senior members of the party will share some of the presidential aspirants.
Yeah, that's correct.
Mr. Pampianim,
former UK
ambassador. Abiesi, former MP. Papa Usankuma, one other lead, they met with them because we all recognize that in every competitive environment, there's a potential for it to be overheated, and it's looking like young primaries would take a certain character. It is important that party leadership now elders all party what to rally now will ensure that he to the baba, but at least it will be controlled such that you bruise young before the general election of 2028. So I welcome it.
The National Council top-down approach
top-down approach BNC. You can kid yourself. Send there MPPN.
No, I'm asking them.
Question. MPPN party organizational structure. Parliamentary primaries, not new presidential primaries on come.
Okay.
Yen party structure. Or your polling station, coordinators, constituency executives, regional executives, and national executives. No yen structure.
But that structure.
Hold on.
Parliamentary.
Yeah, but the structure. The structure is there.
The structure is
yes,
there.
As we see, there is a structure.
Old structure.
On the old or new or structure, they have a mandate.
Times is not expired.
One time on swing.
And so, the argument that the same.
So they will be extended to 2020.
In fact, in 2015, 2005, same delegates are we elected young presidential candidates for 2000. No, 96. But I'll get a date for you. It's happened before. Our existing structure, we elect two candidates for two subsequent elections. You see, we see that we have a problem. We recognize that we have a problem. When we are through, then one day so starter.
there's a clear line between the NPP and NDC when it comes to taking control of what happens in the party. In your party,
I want to dismiss in your silence opponents. That's
a clear difference between.
So how democratic are they? How democratic?
Oh my, what? The lawyer.
Otumo is a declaration. I did now. Autocratic.
Look.
It's your own.
Let me tell you. Oh my, President Mahama now. Why vice president? Are you president? Ofri akonya so 2016 and 2018. Yeah, primaries. Who number of people are contesting? Everybody was given
the
free hand. A contest here. Nipa be 7, still on 95% and above. I'm at 16 na can check. 2024. You record your bonsumo. A contest no. And he almost 100%. And men compare NDC internal party discipline here structure say the year juma. For my NDC we be to me see.
It will be difficult.
With under the leadership of Chairman General Money Adie.
But
the one party from presidential aspirant party structure and
if you look at the content of the letter, invited say
they've indicated
if you have an intent.
They've indicated. Some have indicated that. What's wrong with that?
Let's be fair. That one there. Yenim say diagro. Yenim omo pese minya mekwa president no omo wo bebre.
Omo no nso omo bobodin. Omo emo me papa Jogate din.
Oh, one of them
not follow.
Jogate was there yesterday. Jogate was there yesterday.
No baby.
Jogate.
Oh my, look at all the papers. Why is it not being mentioned? Look at all the papers.
But Jogate is on.
Look at all the papers.
Obisi lawyer. Obisi. Picture enye Jogate ya. Enye Jogate no ya.
But clearly, Mame Mekai said that day of Moya Lisa meeting, now me wo Obi show so. It report by director. I still maintain that.
Yeah.
Say we a protectionist approach. Scratch my back, I scratch your back.
To favor who?
To favor Iraba Omia. So Iraba get the ticket and protect the current national executive. Say NPP structure. Structure no Juma from branches to constituency, regional, national, more to about, especially national, any regional, about 60-70% will go. This is an approach. They feel say,
I don't know. Obi term of office is almost force or money parent.
Now, do you know the danger? Do you know the danger?
What's the danger?
Adena Obi so ebe elected flag bearer. Na chire ya be executives fufura omo dey elected that flag bearer. No omo dey say flag bearer no abe campaign dey da koye. So the standard practices, you do your elections at the base. Then when your executives omo no beba be to aba yi nipa omo fo say obetumi anwen a presidential slot na so that they all really behind and campaign. Now the implication they say ukoyi flag bearer no we answer na we be executives national chairman na ye ba be you no wo beto flag bearer no kra enti flag bearer na e ba da cheze wo kra beto me wo ye be you na me flag bearer but structure no eyi flag bearer na that party structure, that reverence for the national leadership no will be there anyway. It is the internal issue Mpensenpensenmu so much. But on mind before we go, Enra, the year Parliament, I was in the chamber throughout. Enra, close to 10 p.m. Oh yes, but the year approval of the judges, no, just by 7 p.m.
But the minority,
other
minority was not a part of that decision.
They were fully. They were. The only thing they say approval, no, they voted against. But they were at the committee level. Minority members at the appointment committee objected. Majority recommended about plenary appointment committee chairman, first deputy speaker, LA, our floor, my yeninaji tumu, ye debate ye, Emma Afenyo, the venerable minority leader, the final statement on it, Emma majority leader, Yura Ayariga, and so Emma. speaker to
So
question.
what
No?
is your-
So
is your-
it was voice vote.
So what's your position? Do you
approval.
believe that these are competent men for the bench?
Oh, I have said over and over. If you look at time, you can share credentials of
in
my
this,
appointment.
in
fact,
this case, let's be specific.
Yeah.
In this case, they are going to the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
To superintend over fairness and the law.
Exactly.
To ensure equity.
Exactly.
In the other cases, what were those people who were supposed to be there or were there? What were they doing there?
Which people?
The 7-0 and the 9-0 and the 5-0. What were they doing there?
Or they were performing their constitutional responsibilities. But on my, let us not lose sight. Say, yeah, President Mahama, deeper 7 our appointing the NTB. There are constitution now. Constitution is Chief Justice and 9 others. So the argument is that Anadu was just replacing. Once we had 9, say what 14, 13 will be called retirement. You can decide not to replace because you are still within the constitution. But he kept replacing. And between 2017 and 2025 January, 15 Supreme Court judges were appointed.
Are you going to do
48 appeal court judges were
going to do
appointed.
same when they need their rights
Listen
is
to the figures.
No, are you going
15
to-
Supreme Court judges,
I'm saying that
48 appeal court judges,
Etiamra.
and 113 high court judges
Etiamra.
between 2017 and 2025. Hold on. President Mahama. Figures. I want to let the record capture say.
Okay, so
Nanado 15 Supreme Court judges, 48 appeal court
that's
judges,
the number.
and 113 high court judges.
059-3390.
What's what Barry said? Into very reducing about half.
Lawyer,
High court judges, so very reducing about half.
About 30.
You
About half.
appointed 113
Why?
in 8 years.
So remember,
But
you
you
see,
won it.
48
059.
you see, you are in government. That's what to offer won't say. That policy. What to offer
So
won't
what
say.
you can tell them is that
I would just want. There will be vacancies in the High Court.
they will definitely fail.
You have to fill them.
They will fail.
There will be vacancies in the Court of Appeal.
They'll fill.
You have to fill them.
They will fail.
There will be vacancies in the Supreme Court.
So there were
Hold
130
on.
vacancies at the High Court. Is that what you are suggesting?
You see, yeah.
Oh my,
Are
let me tell you.
there 130
With now
high
Supreme Court-
courts in Ghana? In
Just-
fact, to the extent there, even some high courts don't have judges sitting in them.
Yeah.
At one point, Court of Appeal judges to sit as additional high court judges should tell you something.
Or somebody say,
Yeah,
I was thinking
I'm a judges no one. Judges no minimum.
super judges.
I know all of them.
Super judges.
I know
Great
all of them.
judges.
I know all of them.
Up.
And I congratulate them for their elevation. Now,